G'day guys, welcome to Beat the Reset. Tim here, the guy in the hat with my two army generals with me today here at the beautiful Brunetti in Melbourne. We of course have Sammy, the Samurai of Silver. How are you, Sammy?
Fantastic as always, Timmy. What a time to be alive.
Fantastic. I love that. Do you know, somebody on my channel quoted that the other day, said, what a time to be alive. And of course, we also have the Baron of Bitcoin. What he doesn't know about Bitcoin, you could write on the back of the postage stamp. How are you, Vish?
I'm feeling great, feeling electric. Gentlemen, you're not bullish enough. Let's go out there and buy some more assets.
All right. Now, talking about assets, we of course got the orange man telling us that there's gold or no gold. What's going on with gold at the moment, Sammy?
Well, look, he said he's going to go check it, the fortnight's returns.
He's going down there. He's going to catch a train.
He's going to do it, mate. He's going to do it. It's not that he can't get there, today. He hasn't got like a jet or something he can fly there on immediately. He's got to build it up.
Slowly go down the road, cameras.
Build up the anticipation for the big PR event. You got to market it in advance so that everybody's aware of what's going on. So yeah, a whole lot of nothing on that front for now. But very exciting and lots of headlines about gold, which is great to see. You don't often see gold in the headlines. It's a bit of one that people don't like to talk about.
Got this from you, Sammy, recently. Thank you, my dear friend. Look at the beauty.
Oh,
Look at that. Look at that.
Nice. How much gold's that, Sammy?
It's an ounce of gold, which is more than Australia's got in reserves.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, you know more than the governor of the Reserve Bank.
Well, look, I got it around my neck, so I'll give the reserves back at some point, but I'm just having too much fun with them right now.
Michelle Bullock, she's a font of knowledge. Bish, what's going on in the world of cryptos at the moment? Bitcoin was down, then it was up. Then it was down. What should we be doing with it?
I mean, you just keep on buying. I mean, there's no real other alternative. I mean, you got to remember that we've come from an asset that traded at less than $1. We're trading at about 85,000 US at the moment. It's, it didn't get there in one straight line. There's been multiple bull markets, multiple bear markets. And remember, bull markets are marked by heightened periods of volatility, whereas bear markets, they're actually the opposite. There's actually less price action going on. They come after a very violent move to the downside, and there's zero price action. We just trade sideways. There's not a lot of interest. There's not a lot of attention. That's a common type of bear market, whereas bull market is where you see epochs of volatility, really big moves up and down, finding new buyers, shaking out leverage. So right now, we're just trading headline to headline based off what the orange man in the White House are saying, pretty much coming out and saying that they're going to form a strategic cryptocurrency reserve, which is going to involve XRP, Solana, Cardano, and then have Bitcoin and Ethereum at the heart of it. But it's like having a strategic gold reserve and adding aluminium, tin, and copper in there as well. It's not the same. It's either Bitcoin or nothing else. And to be fair with you, I don't really worry too much about the headlines these days because it's going to get volatile. The macroeconomic picture is a bit of a mess, and there's a lot of trade war tension going on. I mean, even Nvidia, which is the stock market, got a big hit. The Magnificent Seven makes up about 85% of the S&P 500's weight, and that erased about $280 billion worth of market cap overnight. So not a small move. No.
Not a small move at all. And now, Sammy, okay, we want to get back to this idea of gold. The price of gold, what is it that really impacts the price of gold? Is it Donald Trump and his shenanigans? Is it the printing? Is it we're watching the shenanigans with the Treasury? What is going on here with the price of gold?
Yeah, so what a question. Does Donald Trump set the price of gold? It may seem that way from his...
But he's telling people he's going to reprice gold. How is this going to impact us in any way?
So when he talks about repricing gold, he's not talking about repricing the market price of gold, which is about $2,650 US, people would say, or $2,900 US per ounce at the moment. He's talking about repricing the book price of gold. So changing that from $41 US per ounce up to the current market rate of around $2,900 US per ounce. So it's not exactly the same as changing the market price. The market price is determined largely by interest rates, inflation, money printing, that sort of thing. Whereas the book price is set by politicians. So changing the book price essentially gives the US government $900 billion out of thin air to go spend. Great accounting trick, bloody awesome. And what that will do is put more eyes on the gold space, put more rocket fuel in the space as well, and push that market price higher. So it's a great time to be a gold investor. It's not often that you see gold hit headlines. So yeah, what a time to be alive. Gold's trading close to all-time highs. We're about $50 off the all-time high per ounce in Aussie dollars. A little bit less than that in US dollars, I believe. So yeah, pushing all-time highs. Seems like we're setting a new all-time high every month. So yeah, make sure to get involved.
Now, Sammy, you're our timekeeper today. So how are we going for time today, Sam?
Oh, well, I think we're doing all right for time, Timmy. I think it's okay.
We're going beautifully. Do you like that fish?
I like it.
I just worked that in. Hey, we didn't do our little.
Oh, of course. Well, let's start that off with it.
Go. So research.
Bullion.
Crypto. Beautiful, Sammy.
Change it up.
I'm so confused.
I mean, right now, this is the beauty of the portfolio we put together, guys. We talk about having risk on and risk off in your portfolio together, because when markets get frothy, when there's a lot of concern in the market, you are going to really enjoy having that risk off component of your portfolio. You know, your gold is never going to let you down. It's just going to continue to track up and up and up. It's going to track the price of track inflation very well and just even beat it by a considerable margin. So you can't go wrong with this stuff. Whereas with Bitcoin, it's your risk on component of your portfolio. High volatility, high rewards, high returns. So that's what you're going to be expecting from there. And that's why I love putting these two assets together. I mean, and even Peter Schiff, who is a notorious gold bug, I couldn't believe I was going to agree with him, because I very rarely do I agree with him. He came out and said, having a strategic reserve of anything other than Bitcoin doesn't make sense.
Yep.
I honestly, I was beyond.
Where's the real Peter Schiff?
Where is the real Peter Schiff?
Pigs do fly.
Yeah, and I was astonished. Yeah. But he's gone back to obviously blasting the old Bitcoin, which is the Peter Schiff that I love.
Yes.
But I listened to his talks. He's always a bit of a macro doomer, expecting things to just collapse in a heartbeat. And what I love is that he often shares concerns, but no real solutions other than buying gold. Whereas what we do is we actually give actionable insights. It's not just about gold. That is definitely a big part of the portfolio. When we talk about gold, silver, Bitcoin, sometimes alts when it warrants a risk-on environment for it. That's the beauty of what we're talking about. We're adapting to the market. So, you know, when we saw a lot of risk-off sentiment coming into the market, you heard me saying, guys, get out of alts. No altcoins right now. Just focus on BTC. Focus on BTC. And then when Sammy comes to you with ideas, focus on platinum. You got to hit these trades when they come available to you guys, because we could talk about increasing your gold and Bitcoin stack quite quickly, but you got to be patient with these investments, because these headlines are crazy, and I don't want anybody to buy today, sell tomorrow, buy the next day. You're just going to chop yourself silly.
Yep.
I'd like to hear your thoughts, Tim, about like what you're seeing in the moment at the markets and why we're getting all of this craziness. I mean, you've done a lot of research into Donald Trump, so maybe you can dive into that a little.
Well, I mean, I've never veered off where I see this going into tokenization. I know we're moving towards central bank digital currencies. We're going to have some bridge across to the new currency. You're going to watch a whole lot of fireworks by the great entertainer himself, the Orange Man, the Wizard of Oz, of course. And he is the Wizard of Oz here. And that book, if you read it, seems to reference something that looks a little bit like what we're watching right now. But we're going to see the bridge across here, guys. The Bank for International Settlements is calling it Project M Bridge. M stands for basically monetary diversity, the bridge across. The bridge across to where exactly? And what will the bridge be? Probably stable coin. I think we've spoken about before. I think the entire world needs to go through a reprice. Bitcoin needs to go through a reprice. A 2 trillion market cap, I think is right, Bish. It can't be. You cannot have a serious, with a $300 trillion global debt, you can't have a $2 trillion asset as a reserve asset. It's not going to work. Gold's sitting at 17. What is the market cap for gold? 17 to 20.
Close to 20.
20 trillion. No good. It's no good. It's the wrong price for a debt-based system at 300 trillion. They're going to have to reprice the debt. They're going to have to reprice the markets. Yep. And at some point, we're going to have this bridge across, which will probably be stable coins, which is why Donald Trump's talking about strategic crypto reserves, because he's trying to create something called digital maturity in the common man. In other words, you need to understand these assets before you can trade them. And then, of course, we're going to end up at CBDC. Of course, Christine Lagarde came out with the ECB and said that we're going to basically legislate our way through this now. We don't really care what you think, and we're hoping that our legislature will be able to kind of hammer down this whole thing. I don't know if you saw Christine Lagarde. Yeah. What did you guys think about that? I mean,
well, look, I mean, I look at the ECB as a bunch of unelected bureaucrats essentially controlling monetary policy on behalf of 500 million Europeans. So
Yes.
on a national level, you can vote for your prime minister or your president. I mean, it's a selection, not an election. But when you have unelected bureaucrats controlling monetary policy and you have zero control as a country over the production and dissemination of the currency that you use every day, you've given up monetary sovereignty to a bunch of unelected bureaucrats. And now look at how they behave. They have no respect for you, no care for your level of wealth, no care for the level of life that you can afford for yourself and your family. And they're going to do what suits them best. So in a system like that, what do you do, guys?
Well, I mean, this is why, and I'm not trying to offend the XRP army here by any chance. Like, I really don't want to offend you guys, but Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple Labs is a WEF partner, a World Economic Forum partner, and they're pushing for central bank digital currencies. In fact, they have been on record funding smear campaigns against Bitcoin's energy consumption because it's harmful to the energy, and they want to push to the environment, and they want to push towards a central bank digital currency. I mean, really, I genuinely think that there is no point in looking in anything else other than Bitcoin, to be completely honest. Like, I mean, based off your research and what you're sharing with me, we've got a real shot here. We've got a real opportunity as individuals to, are we going to chase gains, which is perfectly fine if it's making a portion of your trading portfolio, or are we trying to chase sovereign monetary wealth? And other than gold and silver, of course, I don't see anything other than Bitcoin solving that problem in the crypto space. Because XRP has a CEO and a board and an executive committee, and they're lobbying and pushing. I don't agree with that kind of stuff, to be completely honest with you.
They're all ex-Federal Reserve members. So, guys, if we're trying to beat the system and beat the Federal Reserve, why don't we just vote in a bunch of ex-Federal Reserve guys? That'll beat the system. It's like...
Yeah, well, one of my favorite interviews was in 2008, just before the rise of Bitcoin. We saw Ben Bernanke trying to explain what happened to, I think, $3 or $4 trillion. Don't know where it went. He just basically looked blankly at the guy that was questioning him, the congressman that was questioning him, and he said, I don't know where the trillions went, guys. Totally non-accountability.
Do you remember the 10th of September 2001 when they announced that the Pentagon was missing $2.3 trillion?
Yeah, what happened the next day?
Why do you guys look at me for?
I love the fact that these things fell down and they still had the passport. You know, at the bottom. They're good passports. They're good quality.
What happened to
they were made out of great stuff.
I mean, never forget 9/11, but what happened to Building 7?
You're not building 7. Nick's going to say that the moon buggy somehow was fake on the moon, even though there were no tire tracks and they had no inventory for it. But that's a whole other story. Now, I mean, before we get into conspiracy theories, because I mean, this could go like, and then you're going to mention the Titanic, and then we're going to be all the way down the rabbit holes, guys. You know, I mean, these are really real life events that happened.
Yes,
You know, they were real.
Yes, I mean,
Like,
really.
please.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
I do apologise to my audience for this outlandish behaviour.
Oh, mate,
We digress. Let's go back to monetary systems.
So I guess what I want to know here is that there seems to be something really interesting going on. If you look at Bitcoin, there seems to be no agreement at the top level. Jerome Powell, we don't want Bitcoin. Brad Garlinghouse, WEF, he's XRP, so he's not Bitcoin.
That's right.
Then you go over to Peter Schiff, who used to be gold. Now he's kind of Bitcoin. Then you go over to Michael Saylor, who's all Bitcoin but not gold. Then you go to Trump, who's all kind of Bitcoin but now kind of crypto as well. Then you go over to Europe, and she's going, well, look, we don't really care about cryptos because we're going to go CBDC. So why are we seeing such? Is this all part of a plan to just discombobulate, or is there literally no cohesion or agreement at the top levels here?
It's such a fantastic question, Tim. Never attribute to malice what could be attributed to stupidity, right? At the top level, I'm sure that there is some sort of overall plan to continue to enrich themselves and make sure that their wealth and their power is entrenched. But ultimately, they have zero idea as to what's going on. Zero, right? And this
could be less than that.
Negative idea.
-0.
I mean, it's like you can just, if you could print currency out of thin air, literally nothing has value, right? Nothing has value. So, this is why I get really bullish on gold, silver, and Bitcoin, because we got to vote in decentralized alternatives. Gold and silver, when it's in your hands, is yours. There is no counterparty risk. When you hold Bitcoin in your wallet, there is no counterparty risk. And the beauty of Bitcoin is there's no executive committee, there's no team, there's no CEO. It's just is what it is. And you know what's really funny? People talk to me about Bitcoin's supply concentration with Michael Saylor or the BlackRock ETFs. XRP Labs and XRP Foundations controls and owns close to 50% of the supply of XRP. That's incredibly concentrated. And they ultimately print it whenever they like and dump it into the open market. So when Trump tweeted about the XRP being as part of the strategic cryptocurrency reserve, there was a bunch of alerts getting hit on my Twitter feed about XRP, 500 million XRP tokens minted, 500 million XRP tokens minted, 500 million XRP tokens minted. They printed 1.5 billion XRP tokens out of thin air in 48 hours. Come on, guys. Come on. That's
impressive.
I mean, it's pretty
good.
I mean, if I had a money printer, I would print.
Surely you could do better than that. They need to have an Olympic like coming down the straight is the Federal Reserve printing out 300 trillion a second. No, here comes ECB.
RBA behind.
Okay, where's the goal? We've lost it all.
And closely followed by the XRP Foundation. I mean, it's just not on, guys. You know what I mean? We need to have decentralized, low inflation money to be able to get ahead of ourselves. I mean, gold and silver, gold hits the increases in supply by about 2% a year.
Yeah,
If
mine
that-
supply.
New mining supply, 2%, if that. Bitcoin's comparable to that at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fantastic because as long as there's an existing stockpile that isn't actively being debased and demonetized, you can truly store your wealth and value your labor and your efforts over time, because that's what we're talking about. Whether you're working a cafe job or you're working an office job or you're digging holes all day, whatever job you're doing to contribute towards society, at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, whenever you get paid, you got to find out ways to store your labor, your energy, your efforts over time. What are your options? Aussie dollars? Hell no. Stock market? Maybe, but it's just you're taking on so much risk for it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you've got gold, silver, and then Bitcoin shortly after that, trading at 20 trillion, 2 trillion, and 1.8 trillion in market cap. I mean, guys, this is undervalued as hell. When the global debt and global fiat currency supply is over $500 trillion, we're on a tiny drop in the ocean.
Yeah. Yep. Sammy, there's a question I always come back to, and I know I've asked you this 1,000 times about silver.
Yes.
But why is silver always so undervalued? It always is. It always has been. Why does it continue to be? Why is this that you think? What do you believe?
Silver's got an 150-year history of being hated on and suppressed by the banking cartels. You know, you go back to the crime of 1873, the demonetization of silver in the US, hurting the common man at the benefit of those who held gold. Silver has been a beaten up asset for a very, very long time. But when you're trying to pick value in the markets as an investor, when you're trying to pick the most undervalued asset on the planet, silver comes to the fore. And for those who say, silver will always be undervalued, it'll always be super cheap. Well, look at the 1970s. Silver ran like crazy. Yes, it was still controlled and all of this, but it still ran like crazy because inflation was super high. So yes, silver's super undervalued. Yes, it's suppressed by the powers that be, but they cannot keep the beach ball underwater forever. And when it comes up for air, it is going to fly.
They said the same about Augustine Carstens talking about beach balls underwater.
But like markets are irrational. There was a period of time in the 1800s where aluminium got monetized, right? For a period of time, aluminium per ounce was worth more than gold, right? When they first discovered it. And then what happened is it had like this crazy boom, right? And they got really into the aluminium. In fact, the Washington Monument is capped with aluminium because of how valuable it was at the time, right? And so this is what's interesting about the history of monetary metals or metals in general, is that certain assets go through history or periods of time of monetization and demonetization. Now they don't even measure or sell aluminium by the ounce like they would with gold and silver. They measure it in the pounds, right? To sell and trade it, right?
Like copper.
Like copper, right? And so this is what's really interesting about these assets, is that silver for the most part, and again, I'm not trying, I'm a crypto Bitcoin baron, right? But what I love about silver is that it has been actively demonetized, but it's still a precious monetary metal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's been actively demonetized over the last 50 years, 80 years, 100 years.
Yeah.
And then they've tried to monetize other assets in the past, other metals like aluminium, and completely failed. And silver has stood the test of time. And at $1.8 trillion, which is its current market cap, if it was to have a comparable market cap to that of gold today, that would put it at a $350 an ounce US.
Yep. Which, I mean, that's what, over 500 Aussie dollars per ounce for silver.
Which is what, that's at the low end of where it should
Low
be.
end, low end. And this is where I say it's like, even if gold was to double and go to 5,000, 6,000 US, and silver was to be worth 350 US, and Bitcoin was to be worth $1 million US, combined, they would only have, call it $80 trillion worth of combined asset wealth, which is still 3 times smaller than the US debt market.
Yeah.
So we're just talking about severely undervalued assets. It doesn't matter what clearing trading price they trade at today, because what we're betting on over the next year, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, 8 years, as the currencies continue to get demonetized, as US treasuries continue to get demonetized, and there's other alternatives that come up, alternative investments like gold, silver, and Bitcoin are going to be the best gainers, are going to be the most sovereign way to store wealth. And I just can't wait to come and visit Sammy, drop some fiat currency, buy some more gold and silver. Can't wait until I can close off the books for the month of February at Stormrake, buy myself some more Bitcoin, and then just get wealthy with you boys. That's what I want.
Yeah. Well, so what is the time talking about wealthy there?
It's close to me. I
That's a
think
nice watch, Sammy. Is that a Casio?
I think it's something like that, mate. Something like that.
I want to ask you a question just quickly. What's the difference between price and value in your opinion? Because we talk a lot about price and we also talk a lot about value and future price expectations. Both of you boys, what is your interpretation of price and value? How do you understand it?
Price is what you pay, value is what you receive.
All right, I've got one.
Yeah.
Price is short-term, value is long-term.
Bang. I can't follow that up. That's amazing, boys.
So I love what you say. Sammy, just before we close out here, I want to ask you a question about the COMEX. The COMEX, if I look, I was sort of doing a bit of research. This thing popped up, and of course, it's a distant arm of the Federal Reserve, essentially.
Yeah.
If we had no commodities exchange, it just disappeared tomorrow, because that's, would this affect the price of gold and silver at all?
Yeah, absolutely. So the COMEX, the Chicago Metals Exchange, has been a tool of manipulation of these metals prices for a long time, decades and decades. So if we had a world without the COMEX, you could argue we'd have a world without the manipulation. And if we had a world without the manipulation, gold and silver would be sky high. I mean, you take the 1980s peak for silver of $50 US an ounce, and you convert $50 US in 1980 to today's money. Depending which inflation data you use, you're looking at anywhere between $300 US to $700 US per ounce, which means anywhere between 500 Aussie dollars to like 11 or 1,200 Aussie dollars per ounce for silver. So, you talk about, question, what would the world look like without the COMEX manipulating prices? The world would look like that.
Yeah, it'd be a pretty crazy world.
It would.
Now, just the final question is it now, a lot of people say to me, Bitcoin is a manipulated asset. It's a controlled asset. Is this true in any way?
No, the price itself can be manipulated at the margins, and it responds to headlines. Like, the reason why people jump to manipulation when it comes to Bitcoin's price is due to its volatility. It's super responsive to headlines. It's the best pricing mechanism in the world, in my humble opinion, because it trades 24/7. They announce tariffs, bang, back down. They're announcing cutting rates, bang, prices up. They're printing money printing currency like no tomorrow, bang, it bangs up. So it's always pricing in every single bit of information in the markets. Trump tweets out strategic cryptocurrency reserve, bang, prices up, right? He talks about the fact that he's going to go ahead with tariffs and he wants to increase his tariffs to China, bang, price trades down. So it's not so much manipulation as it is hyper responsiveness towards what's happening in the globe on any basis. I remember when we went on our last tour, there was the wars in the Middle East were getting a bit hot. There was missiles being traded between Iran and Israel. And we were walking home at 2 a.m. after doing some thorough analysis in the markets. We saw the market respond.
Different types of markets.
We were watching, and then I got a bunch of alerts that there was Iranian missiles going towards Tel Aviv. Bitcoin traded down, gold traded up instantly, within like seconds of the headlines coming through. So again, it's about it being risk on and risk off. And that's why we put these two assets together, because they're non-correlated and the price isn't manipulated as much as it is just super responsive towards headlines and macro data.
Yeah. Sammy, all right. Gold, silver, platinum, your ideas or your thoughts just to share with the audience for the next week or so.
Yep.
What should people be doing right now?
So gold's had a great run. I'm not going to say it's going to stop here. It will keep going, but I'll be focusing current investments on silver, given that silver generally runs after gold, the saying being gold runs first and then silver runs further with a bit of a delay there. So we've seen gold run first, put in an epic move. It's not stopping here. That's not what I'm saying. But silver is about to make a big catch-up move. So where to put capital today? Focus on silver. Platinum is also looking juicy here. It looks like it's about to break out of a 17-year chart pattern and do what silver did last year. So make sure to grab some of that for your portfolio as well, particularly if you don't own any. It's good to diversify and get a bit of platinum in there. But you should be focusing your purchases today and moving forward on silver predominantly, and then platinum, and then maybe add a bit of gold in as well for stability. But you should be focusing on silver and then platinum.
You know, it's funny, as you were talking, I was thinking if Bisha had an XRP chain and another XRP chain and an XRP bracelet and XRP watch and said, listen, you need to focus on Bitcoin.
You got me, mate. You got me.
Yeah, don't buy gold. Yeah, don't buy gold. There's none left, Sammy. You've got it all. You're too late. So Bish, same question. What should we be focusing on?
Guys, please focus on Bitcoin, right? BTC, BTC, BTC. There will come a time to focus on alts, but I'm not recommending them right now. Now is the time to be focusing on Bitcoin alone. I'm being very firm on this. There is, for those who are really risk tolerant, Sam, Laurie, you could definitely go and add some alts into your portfolio and buy some dips. But I mean, Cardano jumped 60% on the announcement that it's going to be considered for the strategic cryptocurrency reserve, and then overnight it dropped 30%. That's not for the average punter or investor by any means. You're going to buy today or buy yesterday and call me today to sell today, and I don't want that kind of approach with my clients' portfolios. Please, guys, focus on Bitcoin. I only want you guys to enrich yourselves and not overtrade and give me a lot in fees. I want you to keep the lion's share of your investment. So buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, hold. And then I'll give you a really clear indication as to when the altcoin market is going to get really hot. If you are in existing altcoin positions, consider dollar cost averaging the existing ones, as long as they're good quality projects, the layer ones and ISOs we've spoken about in recent times, Sonic, Ethereum, Solana, considering that it's going to be in strategic cryptocurrency reserve. And of course, your ISO tokens, XRP, as much as I have ideological differences with it, it's a great trading asset. So you don't want to discount that, but only if you're in those positions would I recommend dollar cost averaging into them. If you're considering new allocations, just focus on BTC.
Fantastic. All right, gentlemen, that's how are we going for time there? Just another quick time check.
Look at this, boy.
I think we're running up
Get
on it,
yourselves
mate.
some gold and silver and Bitcoin. Guys, please, look at the beauty of this. How many of these have you got left, Sammy?
Oh, I think like 15 or so.
Get yourself some of these pamp bars. Look at the beauty of that on the back. Look at that. Look at that. It's some stunning stuff.
Stunning.
Get yourself some gold, silver, and Bitcoin, and don't overcomplicate it. Please, I beg you. Gold, silver, and
But
Bitcoin.
what do you buy Woolies with it though?
Oh, mate.
Guys, I mean, how you meant to trade there? What do you? I've got to buy bread and milk. Man. That's all it is.
Guys, save in gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Spend Aussie dollars. It couldn't be any easier than that.
Yep. Price, short term, value, long term.
Yep.
Your choice, guys.
Yep.
All right, that's it for us. Of course, the Baron of Bitcoin. What he doesn't know about Bitcoin, you could write on the back of a postage stamp. The Samurai of Silver. Even though he wears all gold, he does tell you to buy silver. And of course, the guy in the hat signing off for another fantastic. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And as always, look after your health, look after your wealth, and as always,
Make good choices.
See you later.